Good afternoon to you and happy Friday. How are you doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome on this cold and slightly gloomy October day. Can you believe that we're almost in November? Almost in November. Where has this year gone this crazy up and down year? So welcome to you if you're just joining. Hope that you are well. How are you doing on this Friday afternoon? I do hope that it's a little bit brighter wherever you are. It's a little bit gloomy here in London. So hope that you are doing well. Thank you for joining. Nice to see you. So winter is definitely on its way, isn't it? So November will be with us on Sunday. The clocks went back last Saturday night here in the UK. And I know I've been building up to that for a few weeks. It's always been quite a big deal for me when those clocks go back. It's been a little bit brighter in the mornings. I don't know if you've noticed it on my morning run. I've had a little bit more brightness, but already this morning you can kind of feel the days getting shorter. So we're enjoying it whilst we can. So how are you doing this week? How's your family? How's your business? How's your team? How are you? What have you been working on this week? And has it been a good one? Do let me know. Say hello. Give me a thumbs up and say hello so I know that you're there. Nice to see you all. Some people joining from overseas as well. Always nice to see this community growing. So do tell me what you've been working on this week. It's been another busy one for me and for my team. So I ran the second of my 6 people management workshops this week. We were talking about managing differences, which is one of my very favourite topics. So managing different energies and different kinds of people in a team. So I mentioned Contribution Compass last week to you, and I will post a link in this group. If you want to understand how you're wired, if you want to understand how to get into your flow, into your zone, and also crucially how to leverage the strengths of the people around you and the people that you work with or maybe live with, then this is definitely the tool for you. So I will post a link into the group. A few more people joining. Welcome to you. Nice to see you. So this week, the second of my people management workshops, which was great, and all about getting into your flow, getting into your zone and managing different people. And the tool is Contribution Compass, the one that I use. So I will post a link into the group so you can check that out. Definitely great to find out how we can get into our flow this winter. And this week we also welcomed our 500th member. I'm absolutely thrilled that so many of you have joined and are getting value from being part of this community. So look out for our regular community events. The next one's coming up soon. And also do let me know what topics would be most helpful from your perspective for me to cover in these weekly lives. Okay, so last week we talked about partnerships. We talked about different ways of working together and different ways that you could form partnerships. But also we talked about some thoughts on how to answer that age-old question, do I need a co-founder? I get asked that all the time. And so we were discussing that last week. If you didn't get a chance to join last week, you can find the recording in this group, along with all the other lives as well, all organised into units so that you can find them easily. So I don't know about you, but I've noticed a real change, a sort of a distinct change in the last week or so, couple of weeks, in people's mood, in what people are telling me, in how people are feeling effectively. So winter is definitely coming, and with it seems to be coming quite a lot of uncertainty and doubt. Over the summer, there was a lot of optimism around. I don't know if you were one of those people that felt optimistic. I certainly was. And I held several events actually in the spring where business owners were very focused on opportunities and pivoting and what does this mean for my business and how do I survive and thrive through this. There was really a sense of pulling together. There was a sense of supporting each other, and also maybe for some of us, some excitement about a kind of a new and shared experience. And I think most people, if asked back then, me included, thought that we would be through the worst by now, right? By the autumn. I think that was most people's view back then. But now, as we head into winter with no end in sight, optimism is being replaced by fear, and uncertainty is leading to increased anxiety for many, many people. As human beings, we're also hardwired to be frightened of the dark, to fear the dark. And so I think this time of year is often really hard, even if we weren't living in such uncertain times. I've always found this time of year difficult, and I know that a lot of people do. And of course, we're all dealing with this in our own way. We're all making choices based on our own individual situations. But we are also all going through this together, despite our differences and despite our different situations and circumstances. We are all trying to navigate our way through these completely unprecedented times. And how we feel absolutely affects our confidence and our ability to stay focused. It also has a huge impact on our businesses and on the people that we work with. If you're not okay, then you can't keep your business and your team safe. And so with so much uncertainty, I think it's easy to kind of feel dragged down by all that negativity, but that's not what we want. And so today I'd like to focus on those things that we can control. So first of all, let's talk about mental health. So if you were watching back at the beginning of this pandemic, of this crisis, you'll remember that I spoke quite a bit about the change curve. And if that's not something that you're familiar with, it's definitely worth searching in this group for the change curve. It's definitely worth revisiting if you haven't thought about that for some time. It describes how all of us go through and react to change and the different stages that we all experience, some more quickly than others, and sometimes we might get stuck in a particular phase and sometimes we might fly through them pretty quickly. So it starts off with shock, then we go into denial, anger and blame. We also then have some kind of bargaining and maybe even some self-blame, and then we kind of get into the pit of kind of depression and confusion, if you like. And only once we've kind of hit that rock bottom, then we can get into acceptance and move through to problem solving. And so you see this, we saw a lot of denial, we saw a lot of anger and blame, people getting very upset about decisions that people were making and choices that other people were making. And the reason that I'm bringing that up again is I'm seeing quite a lot of that again, and the change curve is actually never ending. There's so much change and uncertainty going on that change curve, we keep going through that. You can move backwards and forwards through that. There's a lot of energy in some parts of that change curve, particularly when we're in denial or we're angry, we can feel quite energized by that. And then a kind of a lack of energy when we're feeling really low and confused. And then, of course, there's a lot of energy when we come out through acceptance into problem solving. So the point of sharing this with you or reminding you about this is it's really important to recognize where you are. We are all individually dealing with this, as I say, in our own unique way, but it is important that you recognize where you are. It is also possible to wake up one morning and feel a certain way and then to move through the change curve quite quickly. So recognizing where you are and not giving yourself a hard time when maybe you are feeling cross, or maybe you're feeling anxious and worried and scared. I think that's a really important thing to remind ourselves of is not giving ourselves a hard time. This is all about how we're feeling. This is about our mental health, and this is about getting through this in a safe and healthy way. And you have to save yourself, you know, the old aeroplane analogy about putting your oxygen mask on first. If you're not okay, you can't possibly look after your family, your community, your business, your team. Something that I have spoken about before that I think is really, really helpful and something worth reminding yourself of is what I call standards. Think about what are your non-negotiables. What are the daily things that you need to have in your life that support your mental health and well-being? What are those things? For example, a lot of people I know like to get outside every day, like to move their body, like to meditate, like to eat certain foods or do certain activities. So what are those elements of your life that are non-negotiable? What are those things that you make sure you have in your day or in your week without fail, because you know that they support you, because you know that they make you feel good? So think about what those standards are. It's all very well having goals, but what about those standards? What are those things in your personal life, in your health, in your business, in your relationships? What are those things that are important to you? And now is a great time to remind yourself of what those things are. I think it's really important also to stay calm and focus on what is real and what you can control. There are so many things out there that we can't control. We can't obviously control the virus. We can't control what the government does. We can't control the choices and decisions that everybody else makes. We can't choose whether other people wear a mask or don't wear a mask. We can't affect whether people socially distance or not. All we can do is control what we do. So focusing on what you can control is a great way to feel less anxious and to feel more confident. So really think about what are those things that you can control, and trying to manage any stress and anxiety that inevitably does come in these strange times, and also comes from running a business, of course, and managing a team. One of the ways that you can do that, one of the tools that you can use to help manage that stress and anxiety, is to think about where you're getting your information from. There's so much information out there across the news media, the internet, social media, etc. We're just bombarded by information all the time. And what I would say is just be aware of your reaction to that. If you are feeling panicky, put your phone down, just switch it off. Don't engage with it, turn the television off. Don't obsess or catastrophize. As I say, that the media have got a job to do. It's a 24/7 machine, and they need to keep feeding it. And there's the drama and the, woe is me and doom and gloom. And there's a lot of negativity out there. Tap into what you're interested in, tap into what you feel like that you need to know, but make sure you're getting your information from reliable sources, and don't obsess about it, and don't spend too much time on that. It's not really a great use of your time. Find the information that you need to feel safe and secure, and to keep your family and your business secure. And then switch it off, do something more productive with your time, and try and keep some perspective on this. As I say, the media's job is to hype everything and keep us engaged and listening and watching, but it's not always the best thing for our mental health. So just watch the amount of time that you're on your phone, or that you're watching TV, or that you're absorbing information. And think about what helps you stay calm, what helps you feel calm and in control and confident, because that's different for each and every one of us. So yoga is something that I certainly find really helps my mental health, feeling calm, feeling grounded. It's really good for the body and soul. Meditation also, in terms of calming the mind, that breathing, decluttering our system, if you like, and also our mind, and we make much better decisions, of course, when our mind is clearer. So things like yoga and meditation really can help us feel calm and feel centered, and, as I say, then focus in on what we can control. Creativity is a great thing to lift the spirits, to make us feel better, but also to break up the monotony of these days that all seem to be kind of merging into one. I don't know about you, but drawing or painting, do something different. Give your brain a bit of a break. Also journaling as well. I don't know if you keep a journal, but it really does help with that perspective, and also that self-awareness, which is so important for your mental health. Gratitude, I put a post up this morning about gratitude. Gratitude is such a positive thing. What are you grateful for? Who are you grateful for, or what are you grateful for? Such an important contributor to good mental health. I mentioned in my post this morning that my husband and I started a couples gratitude right at the beginning of the year, and every week we spend a few minutes listing out 5 good things that happened in the previous week and 5 things that we're grateful for. And some weeks, I'm not going to lie, some weeks it's been harder than others, but it's a really great practice to get into. What are you grateful? There is so much for all of us to be grateful for, and good things do happen. So focusing on that again can make us feel so much better. And in terms of supporting other people, which also is good for our mental health, making sure that we are supporting and reaching out to those less fortunate than us, or those that are struggling a bit more than us. We're all on that change curve that I mentioned earlier on, and just recognising and accepting that whilst you might be in a state of acceptance, somebody else might still be in denial, or might be in anger. They might be in a different place on that change curve. So when you're supporting other people, be kind, be accepting of the fact that other people are dealing with this in their own way. One of the things that I've noticed a lot over this summer is that one of the things that I'm fascinated about is how different people are wired and where we get our energies from. And what I have noticed is that people that are more extroverted, who get their energy from being around people, from collaborating, often from that face-to-face engagement and that energy that you get when you're face-to-face with somebody. Extroverts have been struggling with this whole process of working from home and lockdowns and everything, maybe more than introverts. I'm not saying introverts are not also suffering, but we have different ways of dealing with these challenges. And we don't get our energy from people as much. I'm just going to take a drink. So we all have different ways of coping. Oh, something went down the wrong way there, I think. So extroverts have definitely been struggling a little bit more than introverts. That's what I've noticed through this period. So when you're reaching out to different people to support different people, think about how different people are managing and are coping with this unique and unprecedented situation. Oh, that's really made me choke. So the other thing that I want to say to you is check in on that friend of yours. That one that's always okay, that one that always has a plan, is always reaching out to other people and wanting to support other people. That person that seems so very together, check in on that person from time to time. How are they doing? So this is really about supporting each other. This is really about understanding how we're all doing and how we're all dealing with this in completely different ways. And I would just say, from a mental health perspective, try and mix it up. I mentioned earlier on that, I don't know about you, but some days I forget what day of the week it is. Even though I'm busy and there's plenty of things to do and I've got lots of clients that I'm supporting, sometimes it can feel like every single day is merging into the next. There's that kind of feeling of monotony. Somebody said to me the other day, I used to look forward to weekends, but now they just feel the same as the week. So I understand where that person was coming from. And so what I would say is really think about creative ways to inject some fun and variety into your day and into your week, just to mix it up a little bit more. So, of course, whilst we're on the subject of health, let's not forget about our physical health. Clearly, our mental health is very important, but so is our physical health. So exercise, the benefits of exercise are well documented. And certainly from my perspective, running has just been such an important way for me to keep myself sane and keep myself grounded and feeling positive through this whole period of time. So of course you don't need to be pounding the pavements if running is not your thing. I also love to box, so working out, moving your body, just getting outside, getting out for a walk is so very good for you, obviously both mentally and physically. Moving our body is so important, rather than spending too much time hunched over those screens Teams and on those Zoom calls, walking, dancing. You know, dancing is such an amazing thing. Put some great music on and dance to a crazy tune. It just immediately makes you feel so much better. Make sure that you're eating well. These are the fundamentals of making ourselves feel calm, feel confident, feel well, and feeling healthy. So make sure that you're eating well, so you're keeping your body healthy, and making sure that you're drinking plenty of water and keeping yourself hydrated. Also, another thing is don't underestimate the positive benefits of getting a good night's sleep. Make sure you're thinking about that time before you go to bed. Leanne Spencer calls it the sleep staircase, whether you look at it as an up to bed or down, you know, bringing ourselves down and getting ready for bed. So think about what you're doing to prepare yourself for sleep, and really try and work on not compromising your sleep. So I try to stop drinking a couple of hours before I go to bed, etc., so that I can have a really good night's sleep. So important to look after your physical and mental health, and don't underestimate how important sleep is to that. So they're really the fundamentals of keeping ourselves safe from a physical and kind of mental perspective. So now let's think about our businesses then. So some of you I know are absolutely thriving and your businesses are growing really fast, and that's fantastic. And I'm working with several of you that are in that situation. But I know, of course, that others are having a really, really tough time when it comes to business. And a lot of businesses are really, really struggling, and that's just the reality of the situation that we face ourselves in. And so from my perspective, my best advice to you running a business and running your business is it's all about doing the basics well. You know me, I'm a simple soul. It's all about those foundational things to keep your business, that drumbeat of your business. And those foundations that I always talk about are actually more important than ever before. Right now, it's more important to be doing those foundational things well. And so what I'm really talking about is routines, activities, and of course results. So in terms of routines, I've talked a lot about that daily start of your day process. It's just a short process. Review your list, review your calendar. What am I trying to achieve today? Just to ground yourself and center yourself in what am I actually doing. And of course that end of day routine, what have I achieved? What have I got done? What haven't I got done? What does tomorrow look like? Just rounding out the day, maybe doing some gratitude there, also a great practice to get into. So what do I want to achieve and what have I achieved? That daily drumbeat of your business. And of course then the weekly process of reviewing more in detail your to-do list, your projects, your calendar, your email, and getting yourself clear for the week ahead. If you want more tips on that, then do check out my focus formula, which is absolutely about keeping your head clear and keeping on top of everything. Checking in with the people that you work with. Are they in flow? How are they doing? What support do they need? Are they clear about your expectations of them? And what can you do to support them better and make them put them in a better frame of mind? So in terms of routines, very, very important. That's always the grounding point. That's where I always start with my clients. And then we come on to activities. So are you doing the basics and are you doing them well? So many people I find, particularly when we're panicking, when we're worried, we're allowing ourselves to get distracted, we're procrastinating. There's all this new and shiny things and all these courses that people are selling and all these things that we can get distracted by. And it always comes back to, are you doing the basics well? First of all, let's get the basics right. Then we can do all that shiny magpie stuff. Nothing wrong with that, but let's get the basics in place first. So customer acquisition, how do you get your customers? Do you have a steady stream of customers coming through? Do your customers come through referrals? Do they come through organic social media posts? Do they come through email outreach, networking, paid advertising? Consistency is absolutely key when it comes to customer acquisition. Consistency in your messaging, but also in your activity. So are you doing those things that you know bring you customers? Are you doing them week in, week out? What about customer retention? How much are you focusing on your existing customers versus trying to get new customers? Are you talking to your customers regularly? Are you checking in with them? Are you offering them increased value? And then delivery. Are you delivering that high quality product or service? Are you being consistent? What more can you do? These are the basics that often get lost when we panic, when we feel under stress. And I want to continue to bring you back to doing those basics well. That is how you survive through this winter, but that's also how you thrive through this winter. Focus is just so important here. I can't overestimate how important it is to have a clear mind and to be focusing on what am I doing? What are those fundamental things that I need to be doing? Now, results. I've said many, many times that focusing too much on results can make us anxious, desperate, needy, all of those things we don't want to feel, of course. But of course, having said that, that doesn't mean that we shouldn't be keeping a tight grip on our numbers. Cash is absolutely key now more than ever. And knowing how much your business needs to sustain itself and, of course, you is absolutely key to staying grounded, to staying afloat, to, as I say, surviving and then thriving. Make sure that you're measuring the key things in your business, those activities that we spoke about a moment ago. Plus, if you search in this group, I did a whole live about measuring and what to measure in your business, so do check that out. Look for evidence rather than focusing on results. Look for evidence that what you're doing is working. Now, what do I mean by evidence? Maybe a message from a client, maybe a contact on social media who gets in touch with you, maybe an inquiry or even a competitor doing a similar thing to you. Listen to what the market is telling you. Listen to and watch for those small indications that you are on the right track. This is how you keep yourself grounded. This is how you keep yourself feeling confident and focused. Look for evidence and focus on evidence more than results, because results take time and results are often a result of all the activity that we do. So focus on the activity and focus on the evidence rather than obsessing about the things that you can't control. Often the results are not something we can directly control. We actually impact them through the activities that we do. Now more than ever, what we need is consistency, but we do also need to be flexible. So it's that balance between consistency, but also keeping our eyes and ears open and being flexible. So what does our market want from us? What are people in your market spending money on? How can you add more value to your customers and to your network? So they're just some of my thoughts on getting through this long, dark winter that's ahead of us. Do let me know what your thoughts are. How are you feeling? How are you feeling about, how are you feeling personally? How are you feeling about your business? How are you feeling about the broader world and what's going on? Be aware of how you're doing and then you can look after yourself. I certainly feel better when I'm making decisions, and I know that's the same for a lot of people. But what I would say is don't make decisions when you're panicking. Just be aware of where you are on that change curve. And as I say, that can change minute to minute, hour to hour. So just be aware of how you're doing. Just like you, I have my moments of fear and anxiety, but for me, being organised and focusing on what I can control really gives me confidence. And channeling my energy into gratitude, service, and also opportunities is what gives me hope and makes me feel in my flow. So what makes you feel good? How you feel really, really does impact you so much. It impacts your confidence, your ability to focus, and also your ability to get things done. So it's important to be asking yourself that question, what makes you feel good? It's really worth taking the time to figure out what makes you feel positive, because it affects everything about how you live, about how you see the world, about how you see yourself, about how you behave. It's really so important, and so it is definitely worth spending a bit of time thinking about what makes me feel great. So I'm going to close today's live with 2 quotes on this topic. The first one is from Desmond Tutu, the South African cleric. And what he has to say is hope is about being able to see that there is light despite all the darkness. And this is something that is so important, particularly as the days close in and there is so much uncertainty. Remember that there is light in the darkness. We need the darkness to see the stars. There is light, there is hope, there are things that we can control. And we will get through this. My second quote is from George Lucas, who is the American film director and producer. And what he has to say is, always remember your focus determines your reality. So what are you choosing to focus on? Listen to yourself and ask yourself, what do you need to spend more time in your flow? Let me know your thoughts and questions on this or any other topic relating to how to grow a business that works for you. What area of business would you like me to speak about next week or next time? If you haven't already got your free copy of my book, The Real Entrepreneur, then do check out therealentrepreneur.book.com. If you prefer an Audible or a Kindle version, then you can find those on Amazon as well. So I do hope that you really have a lovely weekend, whatever you're doing and whoever you're doing it with. I wish you a happy and a peaceful time. And as always, if you want to talk, you know where I am. Please remember to be where you are in the journey. You don't need to know it all, and you definitely don't have to do it all. Take care, stay safe, and do keep in touch. Bye for now.